Hi, everybody, and welcome to the live Monica Makes It Happen Facebook show, all because of you. And tonight, I want to talk to you direct. This is going to be an epic show. We're talking about jobs and re-entering the workforce, specifically women who are struggling to get back into the workforce. Why is that happening? Well, live, we're going to do a coaching session with an expert, someone who knows what it takes. And Vernita, who I fell in love with doing a story, restoring hot water to a building on the Lower East Side. And she told me she couldn't find a job, and it's been a year. We're going to help her live. We're going to put it out there, and we're going to help you figure out how to get back into the workforce. So many of you are struggling. The stats are actually shocking. 1.8 million fewer women were employed in May of 2021 compared to February 2020. What is going on? What is holding us back is what I want to know. It kind of makes me angry to hear that statistic. We have Samantha Ettus here with us, the founder and CEO of Park Place Payments, and of course, Vernita Deloach, who is in desperate need of a job. And what is she doing? We're going to get to all of that. But first, Tamsin Fidel, my colleague, has more on what's going on.
Millions of women lost their jobs throughout the pandemic, and now they are having a harder time than men getting back into the workforce. More than 4% of women lost their jobs between 2019 and 2020, compared to 3% of men. Now, the International Labor Organization with the United Nations says men are having an easier time finding a new job, and male employment will likely return to 2019 rates.
And Samantha, I mean, you are the founder and CEO of Park Place Payments, a company created to give women a legitimate and flexible career path. I mean, what is going on? Why is it so hard to find a job?
Well, it's not so hard to find any job. It's so hard to find a job that is accommodating to the needs that have changed since COVID, right? So what happened is if you had inequality at home pre-COVID, that inequality was magnified during the pandemic. So if you were doing 90% of the housework and the childcare, that became even more pronounced during the pandemic. And so it forced a lot of women to leave the workforce because their kids were at home. They were supervising, Zoom school. And there were so many changes in all of our lives. And I think that what we're seeing now is basically the result of all that's happened over the last year and a half. And it really requires a change both from employers and from employees.
I feel like we have taken on everything because we have had the pandemic and we have so much more stresses on us. And as women, we take it and we do everything and we step up to the occasion. But I mean, is it that women aren't looking, or is it the employers are not hiring? Like, which one is it, the chicken or the egg?
I don't think it's the employers not hiring. I think that women are looking, but they're expecting employers and they need employers to be a lot more flexible. So at Park Place, we've recruited incredibly talented women who just cannot necessarily be in an office every day, all day. They need some flexibility, but they still care about earning money. And so we train women with zero background in financial services to sell payment processing to their local businesses. And one of the things we've found is that part of the last year and a half that's been so confusing for so many women is just understanding, what is my story when I want to go back into the workforce? How am I describing what's happened for the last 2 years?
That is so good, Samantha. Say that again. Tweet, Facebook. What is my story? Just asking, because, we're going to do this live session with Vernita, who's joining us now, who you're going to fall in love with. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to relate to. A year. She has her master's degree in social work. Vernita, you're a fantastic person. I met you on the Lower East Side when you were fighting for your building to get hot water, and you got your hot water because you did it. You made it happen. But you said that you were really struggling to get back into the workforce. What's going on? Tell us your story.
I graduated from Yeshiva University in 2019, in July 2019. However, a couple of months later, we was informed that we was involved with a disease or COVID-19. They shut the world down. Even with the world being shut down, I was still looking. Yet, now that the world is starting to reopen, I'm still looking and still having difficulty finding employment.
Okay, so Vernita, first thing is I want you to think of your job search as starting now. Okay, you haven't been doing this search for a year. You have been doing this search starting now. This is Vernita 2.0, because at the end of the day, whatever happened during the pandemic, we can erase that. It's kind of like the school year, the work year. Everyone can erase what happened in the last year. It's not reflective of your value or your value in the marketplace. So we need to say, okay, August 1st is the first day of Vernita 2.0. It's the first day of your new job search. And what I heard you say earlier when we were talking before the show, I was asking you a little bit about your passion, and I heard it come out in spades. Can you share with everyone a little bit about why you chose social work?
I chose to become a social worker for the simple fact that you have individuals who aren't aware of the different services in their area, whether it's a child at risk, a senior citizen who is having difficulty, or even an individual who's re-entering society from being incarcerated. They all need to know how to find the services that will benefit them in order for them to become self-sufficient in what society says.
And when you think about helping people, is it something that's related to your own life? Why do you think you happen to care so much about helping other people?
Not only did it happen with myself, not knowing what services was in my area or areas, now that I live on the Lower East Side, it's also because I had friends or I had associates that would come and ask me questions or ask me for help. And I got a joy of being able to help them, knowing that, okay, I helped you get this far. Let me see if I can help you get a little bit further.
So one of the things I love about your story, Vernita, first of all, Monica added a lot of color to your story because she shared that you were the one using your voice to fight for hot water in your building, right? So that's a great example of why you would make an excellent social worker, because when you're a social worker, you have to advocate for people who need help. And so I would incorporate that into your story, because even though you've been searching for the last year, you've actually been working on things that are related to your job search.
Yeah, that's your first tip. Your first big tip is the brand. What is your brand? Like branding, right? If we could put up the first tip that you suggest for everyone watching, right? It's
absolutely,
creating your own personal brand. What is Vernita's own personal brand?
So Vernita's personal brand, because she just shared it with us, is she is someone who is passionate about helping people, and she is not afraid to use her voice and be an advocate for others.
Oh, that's good. That was
you
really
nailed
good.
it. Vernita, you gave me all the words. You already had all of the words in you. You just needed to nail down your story, and that's it.
That's the cover letter, right? So we put that in the cover letter. It's important to have that in your cover letter.
Now, confidence is key. I see this every day because we have a lot of women coming to Park Place who maybe weren't in the workforce for a few years. And it really does impact your confidence when I'm sure that the last year had a big impact on your confidence, Vernita. But one of the most important things I always say to people, like, channel your most confident friend. Who's the person that you know well, who just always seems super confident? When you go in that job interview, or when you write that cover letter, or when you're talking to someone about what you want to do, you want to present confidence. And it really does actually make you more confident, right? You want to smile more. You want to really be engaging and saying to people, I know I'm good at this. Because when it comes to social work, you are confident, Vernita. You have a passion, you have a mission, and there is no one who hears that won't want to hire you.
And right. Vernita, how is your confidence level right now?
My confidence level is high.
Excellent.
Good.
I love hearing that. That's really important. And then, it's important that you are following flexibility, right? So you want to be earning money, but you might also want to be more flexible than you have been in the past. It sounds to me like you're in Manhattan, you care about helping people access the services there. And so it's really important that you are going into a culture that's welcoming to you and that's going to be appreciative of your expertise. One of the most important things for all women or all people when they take on a new position is to really be open to learning. And that's not just learning new skills, but it's also being open to feedback. If someone you respect is giving you feedback, then there's probably something worthwhile in that feedback that will help you improve. And what I always see as the biggest blockers to people's success is being defensive, right? Someone tells them that maybe they did something the wrong way, or they could have done something differently, and they immediately respond with why they did it that way, or all of the reasons that that person is wrong about what they did, or how it's someone else's fault. But one of the best things you can do is to say, you know what, that's great feedback. Thank you so much. I'll have to think about that. I mean, the person who's then giving you the feedback has a boost of respect for you, and you actually have an opportunity to learn, which is really important.
Sam, just to chime in, sometimes when you get that negative feedback, and you consider it negative, but it's just feedback, and you are defensive at first, but then it does sink in eventually. And Vernita, like you, I know you've been searching for a year, so you're open to feedback. You want the feedback. You're ready, right? Sometimes you have to be ready too, right?
Yes.
It's such a good point. And also, you know, once you do land that job, Vernita, you want to make sure that you're always being challenged, right? You're always getting new cases and new things to learn. And then if you see some people in your new organization that seem like the kind of people you can learn from, spend more time with them, ask questions, and make sure that, you know, you're the one who's navigating your career, because there's never anyone else who's going to navigate it for you. It's up to you to sort of captain that ship.
I like that.
So, and the other thing is, the great thing about social media is that it's free, and it's an opportunity for you to present yourself in the most confident, accessible way possible. So I would make sure, I don't know if your LinkedIn profile is up, for Anita, is it?
I am on all social for employment purposes. I am on all media. I'm on LinkedIn, Indeed,
Good.
job, whatever the site
Okay,
is
good.
for a
I love
job.
it.
I'm on that link.
Great.
She's
So
on our show. She's on our show. So if anyone's watching and wants to hire her, she is.
yeah, anyone who needs a social worker, I would hire Vernita in 2 seconds, because she's committed, she's passionate, and she has a great work ethic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that it's really important when you're doing your social media profiles, and I haven't had a chance for Nita to go to yours, but just make sure you have a professional picture. Have a friend to come over and take a photo of you. You know, a lot of people that will come apply to jobs with us will have a picture of them in a car, right? That's not professional. So ask a friend to take a picture against a plain background and make sure.
Sorry for interrupting. My profile picture is in my cap and gown after I got hooded for my
Love it. I love that.
master's.
That's awesome. That's great. Perfect. And then you just want to make sure that in your bio on all of those social media places that you're on, Vernita, you want to make sure that a lot of what you're sharing with us today is coming across. So you want to make sure it's saying things like, I am a passionate person who loves helping people, loves using my voice to advocate for others, and I want to be your next social worker. And that is what's going to land you that dream job.
Oh, Elle's here. Elle, what are people saying?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the comments, and I'm seeing so much love for Vernita. I'm also seeing a really important question, I think, from Carolyn, who asks, Sam, this is a question for you. Carolyn writes that she's finding that not all employers are accommodating for childcare. And is that a way that you can have a conversation with your employer, maybe your next employer or your current one, about needing them to be a little bit more understanding when it comes to childcare?
Yeah, no, this is really tricky. I like to have those conversations after you've been hired, right? So once you've been hired, it's a lot easier. They've already fallen in love with you. They already want you for the job. That's always a good time to say, by the way, I didn't have a chance in the interview process to ask about XYZ. You know, is it okay if I go pick my child up at daycare at 5 o'clock every day? Whatever that is, that's the right time to be asking those questions. And then if it's a current employer that you need more flexibility from, at the end of the day, it's a lot harder for any manager to replace you and a lot more costly than to make it work with someone that they already like and is a proven entity. So you can say to them, you know, given the pandemic, things a lot have changed in my personal life, and I need a little more flexibility. What can you offer me? And start that dialogue. But it's really important to bring that up. No one's going to bring it up. You can't expect anyone to mind read. They're not going to know what your needs are. You're going to have to advocate for your needs. That said, a lot of employers still don't get it, right? They're still not creating any flexibility. They're still not letting you pick up your kids or drop them off when you need to. Still looking at FaceTime is super important over quality of the work. So if you have an employer who doesn't get it, they might never get it. I mean, that is literally why we have so much talent coming to Park Place, is because we happen to be a home for people who need flexibility but still want to earn money. And there's not that many companies that offer flexibility. I would say that it's changing, and that the positive outcome of the pandemic is that a lot of companies are changing. A lot of companies are being more flexible.
I
So there
love
is a
it.
lot of good news.
I love that Karina's already saying, I have social work experience. Good advice for you watching. Karina, I'm glad we touched you. And everybody who's watching, Stacy, Steven, everybody who is just chiming in and sending lots of love, like you said, to Vernita. Vernita, it sounds like you're doing everything right. We wish you all the best. And again, if you want to give Vernita a job, reach out to us. You know how to reach out to us, Monica Morales TV on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And I have to thank our Sam doing a live coaching session. This show was epic. I've never done that before. And I think we've learned a lot. So everybody, good luck getting back into that workforce, and keep us posted right here on Fix 7. We always follow up. We always go back. And don't forget to watch us every night at 5 o'clock. We're making it happen.